creating. Nope. Now we're live. Oh, see, look, we're already making mistakes. So here we are. I'm Ken Wimberly. Welcome to the live stream. For those of you that know me, or for those of you that don't know me, let me share a little bit. I'm father of 3 wonderful children. Grace, my daughter, is 18 and a freshman at Auburn. Knox, my son, is a high school senior, and our little guy, Kai, is a 5-year-old kindergartner. And a little project I started many, many years ago was journaling to my children when they were just itty bitty babies. And I've spent 18 years of my life staying kind of true to that project. So through the ups and the downs and the life that we've been on, I've taken a few minutes out each and every month to just write a story or two to my children about what was happening in our lives and their lives, and maybe to capture some moments and lessons that I could pass on to them down the road. And for the last 3 years, we've put together a pretty amazing product that to help other parents do the same thing. So we've developed what's called the Legacy Journal app. And this app helps to capture and store some of the magic moments of our children's lives. And you can use the app to create journal entries with the intention to one day pass down your hard-earned wisdom to your kids as they grow. And the app's got the potential really to become a global movement of intention, love, connection, and joy. And truth be told, that's our mission, to just do that. It's to create a global movement here. And as a way to help create this movement, we created a short film. It's a 5-minute video, which we've titled The Letter. And we hope that this will be the catalyst for us to kind of kick off this movement. We'll be revealing that video a little later in the live stream, so stay tuned. And at the core of what we hope will become a large social movement, we've asked parents to share their best life advice for kids. So we're going to ask you, as you share this video, this message, to share it out with your friends, your other parents, people that could stand to hear this message. I'm going to ask you right now, a little call to action. Go tag 1, 2, 3, 10 friends of yours in your social media right now. Invite them to come join our live stream, and invite them to help spread our message. So got a great lineup of guests for you today. I really can't wait to dig in. We've got all our intentional parents that are really making an impact in their children's lives, but they're doing much more than, I hate to even minimize, say much more than that, because that's probably the most important thing that any of us can do right there. But they are doing more with their lives. We've got authors, we've got bloggers, podcast hosts, family that's out living in an RV full time, and Instagram influencers through that. So we've got some really cool people that I'm excited for you to get to meet. And so that'll be coming up here in just a minute. We'll have our first panel. We just know that things are changing quickly in this world. It's been an odd couple of years we've had. It's been tension in the world. Things have changed as parents, the way that we parent with technology and everything that we have to deal with our kids right now. My 5-year-old lives on his iPad, and it's a struggle for me to figure out how to kind of pull him off of that a little bit. So we're going to kind of dig into some of the advice from parents, and I hope we'll be able to share some advice with you and get advice from you. So use the hashtag, and I'll mention this again, hashtag legacy advice. Give us your advice into the world for what you'd want to pass on to your children and help other parents in their journey as parents. And our goal of today is to share the best piece of wisdom that we can put to all kids out there, in the hopes that it will help us all to learn in the journey that we're on as parents. So with that, let's get started with our first group of guests. So I want to invite 3 guests up: Mr. Greg Miller, Les McDaniel, and Ryan Casey. Welcome to the program. Thank you so much for here. Hi, guys.
Hey, Ken. Hey, everybody.
What's going on, gentlemen? What's going on?
Well, why don't just quickly, if each of you, let's see, we'll go Ryan, Greg, Les. Okay. Just introduce yourself and tell us about your family, how many kids you have, and what's happening.
Yeah, I live just north of Seattle. I know Les and Ken from Front Row Dads. My partner Casey and I have a 5-year-old Kayla, a 2-year-old Kyler, and a 6-week-old Cole. And I own a couple Orange Theory fitness studios, got involved in Front Row Dads a few years ago, and really tried to schedule my time to get away from the full-time job. And I was able to leave my full-time job January 2020 and be able to spend a lot more time with family and kind of focus just on some investing in business now. And it's been great.
Awesome. Greg?
That's great. Very similar to my story. I'm live in Syracuse, New York. I know Ken through GoBundance and some of the other areas where he spreads his wings. I left my civil engineering career in February of 2021 to be a full-time real estate investor and really to spend a lot more time with my young family. So my wife, Gina, and my son, Mason, who's 5, and my daughter, Bailey, who's 3, just really dive in to them and create a lot of memories with them kind of during these crazy times. So just kind of simplify and pour into family. It's been really a great focus for me.
Love that. I'm not sure if Ken has disappeared or what has happened.
I think he tagged you as the host last.
Oh, that's awesome. Hey, there you
go. Sorry, guys. See, this is technology at its finest right here, coming from a tech company. So
love it. I love it. So good.
Hey, Greg. So, okay, now we're on to Les. All right.
Oh man,
Les just said the most amazing thing, Ken. You'll never.
You totally missed it.
That was so inspirational. Thank you for that.
Oh, I love it.
Perfect.
You know, I can't tell you what a privilege it is to be here with you, my brother. And the truth is that I know your heart and I know how you lead in this world. And you're an inspiration to me. And in some ways, I can't wait to actually begin to develop my own pathway in this. And that's what I'm working on now. I've actually been in real estate since 2013. It's how Ken and I met. And basically have jumped out of that world in order to begin a coaching and consulting company that really is trying to tap into the legacy and of men and women's lives that are leaders in our world, helping them create legendary kids and children and then ultimately legendary lives. I mean, because really this is all about us beginning to tap into the greatest source of who we are and what we were put here for. So I think you've created and captured something in this app that is so simple, and I'm excited to dive into just a little bit how it's impacted us. And so, yeah.
Well, what I love about and Les, so Les and I are both heavily involved in Front Row Dads right there. And Les is a father of children that have left the nest or leaving the nest right there. And you're on the kind of I don't know, the backside of that journey, but on the different part of that journey, and you're still on the journey. You're still pouring in, you're learning as a husband, as a father, as a leader of your family.
Absolutely, man. I'm closer to grandparenting than I am, more kids in the home. So, well, that's impossible now. We're not going to have any more kids in the home, but I will say that that is part of one of the blessings that I think I have is being a guy who's mostly the same age as a lot of the dads in my mid 40s, if you will. Okay, we're going to go with upper, but mid 40s. But being able to actually have kids that are like ahead of that part of the game, it puts me in this unique position to be able to be an encourager to those who are struggling or those who are actually probably thriving greatly, but feel like they're not doing the best that they possibly can. Because in most cases, we're all doing the best we can. And that is more than enough. It's just we get down on ourselves. And so I love being able to inspire guys to just keep on keeping on and how to tap in and talk with and learn who their kids are and ways of just helping them develop that in themselves. So
love that. So each one of you guys have been fairly prolific users of the app and pouring in, capturing your own stories and moments and memories. But how are you using it? What's it meant to you? Share a little bit about just from the process of collecting stories or moments or lessons and what that's meant to you and what you think it's going to mean to your children. So Ryan?
Sure. I'll start. My kids were really young when I started using it. Kayla was 3 and Kyler had just been born. And so a lot of it was kind of just, I haven't been a great journaler over my life. It's always something I wanted to get better at and just starting. So first it was just getting things down, attaching a couple pictures. Here's what we did today. I thought this was really cool and kind of keeping a time frame. But then especially getting into 2020, so much stuff happened. I mean, I left my full-time job because my gyms were going good. And then 2020 wasn't the best year for gyms so there was a lot of adversity and a lot of stuff going through my head. And I'm like, this is a great opportunity to share it with them And if I'm sitting there talking with my 4-year-old and 1-year-old, they're not going to understand. So the legacy of love was a perfect opportunity to kind of share with them how I got through kind of a tough space for us. Both, sometimes it was mental, sometimes financial, sometimes, there was a whole mess of stuff, and so I thought it was a perfect platform to share some of that advice, or just here's what Dad was thinking back when this happened, and I'm not going to remember those exact thoughts when they get old enough to process that stuff. So it was a great time to capture some of that.
Love that. Thank you. Greg, how's it working for you? What's working in your memory capturing process for you?
Yeah, I think it took a little longer than Ryan. I heard it a number of times, and it took me maybe the third or fourth time I heard it to actually latch on. And it was just that consistency, just doing it, getting a weekly post in. And it's just like, there's so much, life is so vivid. You have these memories that, there's all these details to, and you just, you remember them, but if you think back a year ago to this great memory, you've lost most of that color. It's just it's in time and space to be able to capture it with all the detail, all the, and what you're thinking as you're experiencing it. It's just amazing to feel like you just, you're encapsulating that memory and preserving it, and then creating more of them, and just, it's a wealth of of memories that you can create for your family. So it's an amazing feeling to feel like you have those captured. The app has done that in a way that nothing else that I've seen can do. So it's just a great feeling. So thanks again, Ken, for creating a great app that allows you to do that.
Thank you for doing that for your family. That's the thing that warms my heart right there. And Les, how are you using this? What are you wanting to create or capture for your family?
Man, I think, my approach has kind of come a little bit on the back ends of this. And I remember, when John Vroman actually started talking about how he takes these pictures and then he writes on the backs of these pictures, these notes. And I was like, well, crap, my kids have all left the house. I mean, I don't like take daily pictures anymore. And not to mention that the large majority of the pictures that we took were like early on pre-iPhone.
Yeah.
So it was a challenge, but then as we input those and we've had those captured back in, we've scanned them and had those put in. And then, we've got the wonderful thing where Apple posts up memories all the time and literally shows you those. And I'm like, as those pop up, I grab those and then I'll take my iPad and I'll write a little note on that with them. And then I'm utilizing this to basically, I send it off to them via text so that they've got it. And then text can be lost very quickly. What Legacy of Love app has done for me is it's allowed me to make this a place to store this. In fact, I've got several that I need to log I've had several since then. But that's the piece that I'm loving. And I know you've got more stuff coming with this, and I look forward to the time when it's all just right there, because I want them to be able to have access to this at any point. And it's just, when things are added, it's just popping up in front of them, and it's just a natural feeder where they're getting this encouragement all the time, and they know that I'm thinking of them. I just think of the benefits that this will have. Right now we're just gaining steam with Legacy. I can imagine what this is going to look like years and years.
Yep. Les, you got muted. I think you're having some. Okay. Well, for each of you guys, we got just a minute here left together. Give me one piece of advice that you want to pass on to your children. So, Les, we'll go with you first.
Oh, goodness. Honestly, I think the one piece of advice is I told my daughter, who got married in January, I told her and her husband which is still weird to say, by the way. That's just a very weird thing to say. They got back from their honeymoon, and we were sitting in the garage as we were loading up some of their stuff. And I said to them 2 things. Always stay curious. Never get stuck or lulled to sleep by the voices of people in your world. And the second thing is, always hold me accountable to staying curious myself as I get older and start to get focused in on what it looks like and how it should be and all this stuff. That curiosity piece is one of the key factors for me, and something that I don't ever want to lose. And I don't want them to lose that, because I know that's where a lot of us lose our identity, is when we lose our curiosity.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Greg?
I love that. It segues well with mine. Mine would be to be your authentic self, don't conform and to never grow up. So I think I try to live by that myself, and I try to inspire my kids to do the same.
Greg, you're going to like this video. Ryan?
Man, there's a lot. One of them I have down is just really invest your time with the right people. Choose the people, the circles you want to run around with, and invest time versus spending it with them. And one of the caveats with that is, especially if you're one of those people that are fortunate to have grandparents around, is get as much grandparent time as possible. It's just a perspective that you won't see later in your life, and you want to maximize it while you can.
Yeah, boy, so true, so true. Look, guys, thank you so much for the advice to pass on to others, for your support, and just for your being here. So I appreciate it. We're gonna welcome up our next two. Thank you all again.
Thank you, Ken.
Thanks, Ken. Appreciate you, brother.
We'll welcome up our next two guests, Michaela Cox and Jake Edling, coming up next. So thank you very much. Hello, Michaela. Hello, Jake.
Hey there.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
So how about a quick intro on who you are and your family? We'll start ladies first. Michaela, tell us about yourself.
I'm Michaela Cox. I'm an author and speaker, and I have two kids of my own, a daughter and a son who are 8 and 11.
Awesome. And Jake?
Awesome. I'm Jake Edling. I have a New Parent Secrets podcast, and it's a whole bunch of stuff for new parents. But I have 7 kids, ranging from the ages of 11 down to 11 months. So 11, 10, 9, 8, 3, 2, and 11 months. So we're kind of busy.
So you kind of have lots of free time, right, Jake?
Tons.
Yeah.
Tons. Between the hours of 2 and 3 in the morning. That's it.
I bet. And Michaela, from digging through your website and all the books you've written, I don't think you have much free time either right here.
After I became a mom, that's a foreign language. I don't know what you're talking about or what you speak of. I don't know what that is anymore.
Well, tell me, it looks like, so one of your books, Before the Clock Strikes Midnight, this is a way for you to leave lessons and kind of pass your legacy to your children?
It started when I was a new mom. My daughter was 8 months old. I had the crazy idea of go to grad school when you have an 8-month-old. And I was all the time going between housework and papers, and at the time being a wife and a mom, thinking I was forgetting and not lose the moments that I had. And so I had this idea of, what am I missing before she leaves the house? And then I was late to the party of the Cinderella song by Stephen Curtis Chapman. And that's kind of where the title came from, Before the Clock Strike Midnight, before they leave the house. And then fast forward to 2017, we lost the father of my kids, and my husband 4.5 years out now. And it really became an urgency in my heart that now their dad's gone, and I want them to always have with them the things he would tell them if he was here, to be able to tell them as they grow and leave eventually to go into the world. And so it started it, and I felt really pressed upon my heart to take the time and write it. And it is a collection of lessons, and I have other ones I'll do in the series, but yeah, that's where it came from.
Oh, I'm sorry for your loss, and what a wonderful gift for your children right there, and then for other parents around the world. So thank you for that. Jake, so you're doing a parenting podcast. You're talking to lots of people. What are you seeing any shifts in parenting, any changes and you've got 7 kids ranging. So with the way technology is going today, are you seeing shifts in the way people are parenting and what they're doing?
Yeah. So right now, one of the main things that I think has come a lot more on the forefront is like educating your infant starting early, like around 6 months old, starting to like put flashcards in front of them, or there's little programs that you have, like Your Baby Can Learn. There's also a bunch of information out there for like how to communicate with your baby that 10 years ago just was super hard to find. Like there's a thing called Dunstan baby language, and the founder of it was on Oprah and everything like that, but she's a speech expert, and found that there's 5 different types of baby cries that every baby makes around the world when they're from age like minute 1 up until like 4 or 5 months old. They all make this same 5 different sounds. If they're hungry, if they're tired, if they're gassy, most of the most prevalent one and easy one to identify is nah. It's kind of like nah, nah, nah. Your tongue is at the top of your mouth. So my wife and I have used this Dunstan baby language on all our babies, and these last three ones were super easy. I mean, it's not easy, but we could identify their need, you know, like almost immediately within like 10 or 15 seconds to, okay, he's probably gassy or, oh, they're hungry. But the caveat to that is you got to keep them on a schedule and all that stuff. So I've kind of like niched down my expertise and experience and focused on building a new expecting dads coaching program to help them from like pregnancy up to the first 90 days, like through the first 90 days. And it's like I have different things they can do to, if they're gone, like if they're high performing fathers, like you are, like the other people that are on this, you got a lot going on. You know, you're running businesses or you're managers or executives or you're traveling now, or you just can't devote a lot of time to that little infant, but you still want to have that that connection and bond and learn how to do time management. Well, if you only have 30 minutes a day, like that's enough. But you got to like do some studying on what the baby needs and compare their audio, like what they're screaming out, to their physical body, and then keeping them on a schedule. And you should be able to diagnose what they need.
Yeah,
So
I've been such a long time fan of treating children as little humans, and with intelligence, like they have a voice, even if they don't have the voice yet, but they have intelligence in there in a big way. So that's awesome what you're doing. I love you kind of putting that out there to the world right now. Michaela, tell me a couple of you have a lot of lessons in Before the Clock Strikes Midnight in the series right there. What are a couple of the biggest lessons that you would like to impart with your children and to share with other parents that they could perhaps impart with their children as well?
It wasn't so much in that book because it'll come out later in other ones, but what I've been doing in my own life that I think is equally important is I've been talking about defining your own journey and not being defined by your circumstances. And life is a choice. And do it well, and you get one shot and thrive in it.
Love it. Love it. Jake, seven kids. So, by the way, are there more in the horizon here for you?
No, sir.
Okay, we're there. Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, 7 kids. So, what are some of the things that you most, if heaven forbid you're gone early, what are some of the things you want to leave and pass on to your children that can guide them in their life ahead?
Yeah, so that's a great question. That the main thing that I try to teach my older, we call them batch 1 and batch 2. So batch number 1, right? They're in middle school, and the one thing that I try to tell them is to prepare their mindset with a proper expectation in whatever it may be they're doing. And then the first way to do that is to know that there's only 3 things in their life that they can always control 100%. And that's their actions, their attitude, and their gratitude. Like, that's it. Like, you can't even control when you go pee, like you really can't. So, but you can be grateful that you can still pee on your own, so it's preparing their mindset. And then also their, like, what Michaela was saying too, like their, that you don't want other people's projections of you to affect you, like long term, like be angry or upset for a couple minutes, but then brush it off, let it go, because they don't define you,
Love that. Where can people go to learn more about each of you, to learn more about your books, your podcast? Where can people go find you, Michaela?
All of my books are on Amazon, but I have a website, My Heartfelt Meditation. And I actually agree with you, sir. Mindset's key to a lot of what we're talking about. I talk about that as well.
Excellent. And Jake, where can people find you?
Here, just newparentsecrets.com. We also have the New Parent Secrets Facebook page, and then the New Parent Secrets podcast as well. Everything's less than 15 minutes long, so it's easy for anyone to consume.
Outstanding. Thank you both so much for coming on and sharing your wisdom. I'm grateful for each of you.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you. And next up is my friend, my partner in this video venture, just the amazingly, incredibly talented Mr. Dan Lior. Hello, Dan.
Hi, Ken.
How are you today?
I'm good. Very good. Excited.
I'm excited. So Dan and I met probably almost a year ago. I saw a video. I think I got it in an email, but I saw a video that Dan had produced, and it moved me. It really did. He had made a video for a guy that was down on his luck, and that video helped this guy have a very successful GoFundMe campaign, kind of lift himself out of the situation he was in, and it moved me. And then I just got consumed by Dan's videos, looking at all of his videos, his entire portfolio. And around the same time, something had happened to me, and I was trying to do something for someone else. And I reached out to Dan about producing a video for us, and that just got us into a relationship together, and started talking about what could we do for a video for Legacy, for Legacy of Love, Legacy Journal. How could we create something to really be special and engage people that would be moving? And we kind of eventually came to an idea of creating a video on lessons to pass down to your child as they leave the nest. And this was very apropos as my child was getting ready to leave the nest. My daughter Grace was getting ready to head out and go to college. And Dan, at the same time, we started this project, had his first child. And I think you can kind of share a little bit about your daughter and the project, and just give a couple of minutes, and then we'll roll into the video here in just a moment.
Yeah, I mean, it's always so. When Ken approached me, basically said, "Whatever you want, whatever you think," and that is always a problem, because then you have an entire universe of possibilities streaming through your mind. You want to make sure that you pick the best idea, and then there's the budget on top of that, so you want to make sure that it's actually achievable. But then there's a beautiful song called "Everybody Should Put Sunscreen," and that is one of my favorite songs, and it was purposed as the main influence for the film. And I found myself writing a letter for Indiana, my baby, who was just born 7 months ago, and I was writing the letter influenced by that song, and then I spoke to Ken, and it all kind of clicked together about creating a film that is all about, sending out. We don't. I'm a new dad, but I believe that we don't want to tell our kids how they should live their life, but rather we want to just advise them based on our own life experience on stuff that they should notice too. And let them experience it on their own. So that is basically the film. We gathered advice from people from all over the world. Some were Ken's advice, some were mine, some were front row dad's advice, and we just compiled it into a beautiful script written by a Canadian scriptwriter named Kylie Anai. And it was quite a ride making that film. It took a long time, but I was loving it the entire journey.
Well, and when folks see the finished product, I think the handful of people that have seen this before, so far, have been just extremely moved by it. So if you're ready, shall we play the film for the world?
Yes.
Let's release it. So here we are with the letter. I think.
Hey, sweetie. I want you to know that I couldn't be more proud of you. You were leaving home and heading on to your big adventure. Know that I'm truly excited for you. These moments you are about to experience will define the kind of human you will become. And so, I wanted to give you some advice that I hope you'll carry with you and use whenever you feel like you need some of your old man's guidance.
Res runt i världen. Erfarenhet är den enda sak som du aldrig kommer att ångra att du spenderade pengar på. En dag, när du är gammal, kommer du att se tillbaka på ditt liv och minns gärna den tid när du gick vilse i Paris eller fick slut på pengar i Indien.
Scegli con saggezza le parole che rivolgi a te stessa e non dare potere alle parole che non ti aiutano. La tua voce interiore è sempre la più potente. Non lasciare mai che qualcuno ti dica cosa puoi o non puoi fare.
Δώσε περισσότερα από όσα παίρνεις. Όσα και αν κατακτήσεις, τίποτα δεν θα σου δώσει την ικανοποίηση που θα λάβεις από αυτά που πρόσφερες. Όταν αφήσουμε αυτόν τον κόσμο δεν θα πάρουμε τίποτα μαζί μας. Ανταυτού θα αφήσουμε τα πάντα πίσω.
Überstürze es nicht, deine Bestimmung zu finden. Wenn die Zeit reif ist, wirst du sie klar erkennen. Einige der interessantesten Menschen, die ich kenne, sind immer noch auf der Suche nach ihrer Bestimmung.
共感と思いやり、それは本当の優しさの姿です。物事を決める前に少しの間他の人の立場になって感じてください。ただそれでも人を判断すべきではありません。なぜならそれ以上の人間に育て上げたからです。瞑想。
Stand up for what you believe in. And stand for those who cannot stand up for themselves. History has repeatedly shown us the importance of speaking up against what is wrong. Don't be silent. Vote.
Écoutez votre cœur. Qu'il aime qui il veut. Traitez-les avec respect et dignité. Soyez toujours honnête avec eux. Rêve.
Jangan sekalipun malu dengan jati dirimu dan asalmu. Jangan mengubah jati dirimu demi membuat orang agar suka padamu. Jadilah otentik. Tak semua orang akan menyukaimu. Dan itu tak masalah.
सोशल मीडिया से सावधान रहें। ये आपको एक ही समय में जुड़ा हुआ और पूरी तरह से अकेला महसूस करा सकता है। अपने मानसिक स्वास्थ्य को प्राथमिकता दें, नहीं तो ये दुनिया आपको कड़वा कर देगी।
Always learn. Learn a second language. Learn to play an instrument. Learn about finance, poetry, astrophysics, and everything else your heart desires. And please, trust me on this one. Learn how to change a tire.
No tengas miedo de sentir. Siéntete feliz. Siente tristeza. Siente lo que necesites sentir. Perdona.
And lastly, this life will be whatever you make it to be. We all have a place to fill on this earth. Know that you are beautiful, and you are smart, and talented, inspiring, caring, free, and independent. But most importantly, you matter. Know that growing old is a privilege many people are deprived of. Be grateful for every day that you're given. I'm really going to miss you. Love, Dad.
Oh, Dan. I've watched that a dozen times already, and it gets me every time. I tell you what. Thank you for putting that together. You could not have done a better job than that. The sound design, the artistry, the words, everything that put that together. It's just, it matters, and it really matters. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Ken.
We appreciate that. Everyone, go check out Dan's entire portfolio of work, danleor.com. Go look at his portfolio. Go hire this man. He is an absolute genius. So thank you again, Dan. I appreciate it. So, okay, let's recompose ourselves and welcome our next two amazing guests. So Sam and family, I think, from the Traveling Titans, and Isha, the very exhausted mommy. Hello.
Hi.
Hi, Sam. Hi, Isha. How are y'all? Good, good. Well, so tell us a little bit about who you are and your family. We'll start. Sam, go for it.
Hi. Yeah. Thanks for having us. What a great video to follow. That was really incredible. I'm Sam. I'm the mom of the Traveling Titans, and we are a full-time RV family. We're exploring and adventuring across the country. We, in 2020, right before COVID hit, my husband and I have been talking about relocating. We were right in Northern Virginia, right outside of DC, and we felt this need for a change, and we didn't know what that meant. And then we're traveling around the Beltway one day in one of our, ridiculous commutes, and it kind of just came together. I saw a camper, and I was like, I wonder if you could live in those. What an experience that would be. And then, it was only a couple of days. We'd made the decision to go full time and travel, and here we are, 22 states, a country later, and we love it. We're constantly exploring, living outside. Our daughter is 4, her name's Zora, and our son is 2, and his name's Atlas, and we travel with our Mastiff. So I think for us, the big reason we did this was I actually just came upon this little fact that I think is really, really kind of crazy, but the National Wildlife Federation actually came out and said that the average American child is spending 4 to 7 minutes outdoors per day, 4 to 7 minutes, which is nothing, in doing an unstructured play. So, and they're spending 7+ hours in front of electronic screens. So we knew we didn't want that for our kids, and so here we are, living outside. So that's our story.
That's amazing. Amazing. I love that. And Isha, tell us about yourself.
Sure. Hi, my name is Isha, and I'm a first-time mom to a 2-year-old. During the pandemic, I was really, really, really bored, and I came up with this idea of having a blog and starting my own Instagram page. So here I am today with 18,000 something followers on my Instagram, and I've been sharing my journey through motherhood, pregnancy, products I like, and pretty much anything and everything. And I've met so many nice people over on Instagram. I have a full-time job, so Instagram and blogging is something I'm doing on the side, and I'm really enjoying it. So that's about me.
So I'm curious for both. So both of you have Instagram followings, and which Instagram is technology, it's social media, it's this thing. So Isha, we'll start with you. How has this kind of world of technology in the world we're in some ways it's very much a benefit and a great connection tool. In other ways, it can be quite different. So talk to me about technology and parenting and how it's affected you and your parenting style.
So, talking about technology and parenting, I personally, for me, I feel that I am constantly at a war with technology because my son is always glued to the tablet or the TV or my phone, and it's always a battle, me against the screen time. Um, Technology has its good parts, has its bad parts, and good part is that there are so many different apps that kids are learning from. Um, we we have some apps that he uses and he's learned shapes, he's learned numbers, alphabets, and whatnot. But then there's also shows that he's watching and he's not bringing back good things home, and those are my pain points. um, Also, I feel with more technology, it's very different how we are raising the children today versus how we were raised. We, like, for example, we spent a lot of time outdoors. We had a lot of friends, we were playing outdoors, we were barely in front of the TV. But now it's like, well, maybe they'll spend 10 minutes outdoor each day and 5 hours in front of the TV, which I absolutely hate. um, but there's only so much you can do. Like, we're living
Apparently, you can buy an RV and just load up your kids and send it to road.
Well, I wish I can convince my husband to do that.
Sam, talk to us about, I mean, you've got a pretty sizable Instagram following right now, and how does technology play in your world right now?
So I guess for us, technology, I mean, it's a must, right? You can't get through the world today without some sort of technology. I think it's really about controlling how often and how much time our children are spending attached to that. I mean, I think it would be very easy for it to become an electronic babysitter, which is, I think, something that, people call it. And I think what Isha was saying is like really valid. There's so much incredible things out there when it comes to apps and it comes to different types of TV shows and things like that to educate children. But of course, I mean, does my kid get screen time? Absolutely. My husband and I both work, so we have to balance our schedules. But for me, like the trade-off of having iPads or having Kindles or whatever it is comes with the amount of time. And there's a couple crazy birds, so I apologize. They're just like all of a sudden hanging out right here.
Yeah.
But I think for me, the trade-off is how much time are they getting outside and how much time are they playing, in just kind of their creativity and things like that. So yeah, I think it's required. I think that I don't want my child to. I've heard of families that didn't introduce technology, and then their children's going to school, and like everything is using technology these days. And I think there's the good outweighs the bad as long as we're as involved as we can be as parents. But I mean, none of us are perfect, and yes, our kids get some screen time, but we limit it and we control it and balance it with outdoor play.
Love that. And I love that both of you have platforms where we can have this discussion, where you can kind of put the questions out there and learn from others right there. And I know you're both doing that. So thank you for that. So in the spirit of legacy advice here, what's one piece of advice that each of you would want to pass on to your children? And we'll start, Isha, with you.
So for me, I would like to pass on the advice of ownership to my son. I feel it is very important to take the ownership for whatever you do in life. It is your life and it is in your hands, whether it is your happiness, your health, your wealth, relationships, name it. Like, you are in control of it. Whether it's good or bad, you need to make sure that you take the ownership of it. And it's just very important to just be accountable for your actions.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I would like to pass on to my son.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
You're
Sam?
welcome.
Yeah, for me, like, I think just not forgetting that, nature is there for a reason, and it is the biggest and the best and the most infinite playground that there is, that there really is. I mean, nothing can compare to what nature offers. So I want my kids to realize that it's always there, and it's always there for you to explore, and never stop exploring it, because I'll tell you that in and just the past few months of travel, we have seen more than I've seen in all of my life. And I grew up outdoors. I grew up on a farm. I grew up exploring, and just what we've seen in the last year has been so incredible. So I hope that my kids, follow that guidance.
Excellent. And where can people go to find each of you? Isha, where can people find you?
So I'm on Instagram. My handle is @the_very_exhausted_mommy. It's a little long one. And my website is theveryexhaustedmommy.com.
Excellent. And Sam?
Yes, we're on both Instagram and Facebook at the Traveling Titans, and on both platforms.
Awesome.
I hope you'll
Well,
follow along.
I encourage everyone to go check them out. I just recently found the Traveling Titans. I've been like a little crack addict to it because we're going to be hitting the road in a year. And so I'm loving your journey and what you guys have done. So thank you both so much for coming and being a part of this today. I honor and I'm grateful for you both.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Bye. Excellent. And to kind of wrap things up, our final two guests, two really committed fathers, family men, and quite frequent app users for the Legacy Journal app, Mr. Wes Frank and David Armstrong. Welcome to the program.
Hey, Ken, David, how you guys doing?
Outstanding. So tell us a little bit, David, we'll start with you. Tell us a little bit, kind of who you are and about your family.
Well, I'm apparently the old man of the group. I've been retired for a couple of years after 40 some odd years of career in software development. And I have 3 children that are all grown. I have 5 grandchildren. They're sort of spread around the country. And I guess that's me.
So if you retired from software development, you'll appreciate some of the challenges we have in this little software world we're in.
Yes, I do.
Absolutely. All right, Wes, tell us about you, sir.
Sure. So my wife and I have 2 young kids, 7-year-old boy, 4-year-old girl, and we live in Scottsdale, Arizona, originally from the Philadelphia area, and I've been out here about 15 years. And so my wife does marketing for Sprouts grocery chain, and I have been with Cutco for over 20 years now. So I cover Arizona and New Mexico for the company.
Yeah. Anyone needs some great gifts, give Wes a call. That best knives in the world right there. So give a quick plug for that. How did you guys find? You're both really active users of Legacy. How did you find the app, and how did it pop into your world?
Yeah, so the way that we found the app, I was introduced to it through the Front Row Dads group, and Ken, you and I know each other through that group, and I love the concept. I've kind of had to admit to myself that I'm not a real great journaler in terms of consistency, so this app just has really helped me to just keep certain memories and stories and pictures to not get lost in the sands of time, and also not get lost in the black hole of my phone. So, to me, it's just a much more convenient and efficient way to just capture those moments and those stories. And, I may have been able to, without the app, look back and see a picture every once in a while, but maybe I would have forgotten the little stories that came along with the picture and what led up to the picture. And, I could see my son in a picture playing a basketball game, but I would have maybe forgotten that he had, helped a kid on the other team who had tripped and ran over to him and helped them get up. And, just capturing little things like that. It's been, I think, great for me to just kind of, we always say in our business world, catch people doing things right. Well, it's been really helpful for me to do that with my kids as well and kind of capture those moments. So, it was interesting. Your last 2 panelists, Sam and Aisha, talking about, spending time, and the average American child spending 4 to 7 minutes a day outside. That's crazy. That was a big wow. And so, for me, I think, we've definitely overbooked ourselves in terms of activities this year with the kids, but it's great to capture those moments and those stories along with it. And, so I think it's been awesome.
Thank you. David, how'd you kind of find it, and tell us kind of your experience?
Well, I've been a pretty avid journaler, I guess, since high school, actually. And I've got stacks of books and through binders and spiral binders. And then I've been keeping notes and journaling online in Word documents and other things for a long time. Not too long ago, about a year ago, when I upgraded my computer, I thought I did everything to carefully protect my last journal, which was about 10 years worth of information. And despite my best efforts, and I'm a software person, I should know better, I lost it. I lost 10 years of journaled experiences and thoughts, and it was like a hole. I couldn't fill it. I felt terrible. So I was looking for something that would be more secure than just putting a file on my own laptop, and was just searching in the App Store, found your app, loaded it up, and found it was convenient, it was easy, and it was always backed up. So I didn't have to worry about losing the next 10 years.
Well, you're a frequent journaler. Tell me, okay, Wes, because you mentioned that you're not a regular journaler. You didn't fancy yourself as one. I did not either when I started this process, and I've kept on even to this day. I'm usually about a monthly rhythm. I'll write 1 or 2 a month. David, I think your frequency is quite a bit more voracious than mine. Tell me about the method or the way that you journal and what you're capturing in your stories.
Well, I take the last few minutes when I go to bed and pull out my phone, and I don't do this every day, but a lot of days I just think about the day. What happened today? And I know that often I would, you just get to the end of the day, you're tired, you go to sleep, and the next day those thoughts are gone. So I just ponder the day. What happened? Who did I interact with? What was something good, something I'm grateful for? And I just jot those things down. I want my grandchildren in particular to know me, because they don't live right around me. I have 2 that are not too far away, but the others are clear across the country. They don't know me. I want them to be able to know me and what happened on a daily basis that was worthwhile. I don't tell them what I ate for breakfast, but what made a difference in this day for me that I hope will make a difference for them.
So David, my mother passed earlier this year, and the most valuable thing I received from her passing was, in going through her belongings, I found a series of letters that my uncle had written to my mother. And it was stories about their parents. And I have chills right now just thinking about it, because those were just priceless to me, just to get those stories about my grandparents that I knew growing up. But it's just, it was a piece of their world that I didn't know that he was sharing. And so that will be one of the greatest gifts your grandchildren ever receive. I know that. And Wes, what's your frequency and today, or what's it been and what's it like today?
Yeah, so I think with the app, I maybe once or twice a week is typically where I'm at with the app, or just sometimes I just have to catch myself and say, I definitely want to capture this, and and then I'll just, sometimes sitting in bed at night, like David said, I'll just go back through the day and look at some of the pictures and say, I definitely want to make sure that this, gets uploaded. But it's so quick and easy. It really, really makes it super simple. So I would say just a handful of times a week.
Awesome. Yeah, I've got one that I need to write. Amber and Kai and I had a little RV weekend in prep for our RV year coming out a few weekends ago, and took some cool pictures. I just haven't dove into the app yet and documented that yet. So it's on my list. I got to get done. Okay, so in the legacy advice theme, for each of you, we'll start with Wes. Wes, what's one piece of advice you want to pass on to your children?
So I think, for me, Ken, it's just, reminding my kids to think about how things might make other people feel. And, a quote I remember growing up hearing was that people will often forget what you say, but they'll always remember how you made them feel. And I think if I can raise empathetic and emotionally intelligent kids, that skill will take them further in life than just about anything else I can teach them. So just being aware of their surroundings and how things come across to different people. And if you look around the room, who's probably feeling left out at this birthday party right now? Or, hey, who's the person in class who, who's the new kid in class, and how do you think they probably feel not knowing anyone in their first week at a new school? And if you were in their shoes and someone made an effort to introduce themselves to you or ask you if you wanted to play with them, how would that make you feel? And so, of course, this fits now at these ages at 7 and 4, but as they get older, I think those skills are really going to transfer, and just that social awareness won't just go away.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you. And David, what for your children and your grandchildren do you want advice to pass on?
I'll keep this short. I'm a person of faith. When my wife and I married 46 years ago, we put God in the center of our relationship. We raised our family in a tradition of faith. And so that colors everything that I do with my family and the advice that I give. So my daughter and a new husband a few years ago went through some really difficult times with his health. He'd had a traumatic illness that almost took his life. And for 5 years, she was dealing with colostomy bags and trips to the ER and surgeries after surgeries, trying to also raise her son, working full time. She was just overwhelmed. And knowing this, I recall a little story from the Bible that made me think about when you face a difficult challenge. And so I told my daughter this story. I don't have time to tell the whole thing here, but and then I gave her some advice. I said, when you're overwhelmed and you can see no way out of your dilemma, remember King Hezekiah in the Bible. You have to suit up and show up, but then let God fight your battle for you. You have to do your part, but don't think that you're alone. Lead with faith instead of with your own strength, and then watch God do the work, and you'll win every time.
Absolutely beautiful. Thank you. Wes, David, thank you for joining us. Thank you for your support of Legacy, and thanks for how you show up in the world. I'm grateful to know both of you. So
Good to be with you. Thanks, Ken.
have a wonderful day. Well, and that wraps it up. So thank you to everyone who has spent the past hour with us and watching the reveal of the letter video. Now, my great ask is that please, please, please help us get this message out to the world. My vision, my dream, my belief is that this video will impact millions of people. So my ask is that you please share it. Please use the kind of tag Legacy Advice to provide your own bit of advice so that people can take that and learn from it and lean into it right there. Put it on your social channels, get it all the way out there, and allow us to make an impact in the world. Thank you again for joining us, and I'm grateful for every single one of you. Mwah.